welcome you all to the regular meeting of the Cicero Town Board. Today's Wednesday, June 23rd, 2021. The room, please note the exits at the front and the rear of the room. For those who are viewing the meeting electronically, I'd like to let you know who some of the folks are besides the board members who are here for the meeting tonight. We have Tracy Councilman, Steve Procopio, Gretchen Walter, Steve Ortuno, Robert Germain, Chris Woznicka, Nicole Walsh, Kate Fiorillo, Teresa Roth, Elka Johans, and Wayne Freeman. Clerk will please call the roll.
Counselor Boyke. Counselor Carp.
Here.
Counselor White.
Here.
Counselor Bacallo.
Here.
Supervisor Meyer.
Here. Okay, first item on the agenda, Pledge of Allegiance. We're going to have Dave Redmore. Dave, would you like to come up to the front of the room, please? Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Nancy, item number 2, please.
Approval of abstracts. Resolved, the Cicero Town Board approves abstract numbers 23 dated June 9th, 2021, and 24 dated June 16th, 2021.
Second.
Discussion. Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Boyke.
Yes.
Counselor Carp.
Yes.
Counselor White.
Yes.
Counselor Bacallo.
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, item adopted. Thank you. Next item is number 3. Thank you to Dave Redmore. Dave, would you like to come up here? Come up to the podium here. Is that your bride with you? You'd like to have her come up? Your young bride. Why don't you have her come up? Ah, perfect. Perfect.
Tomorrow, you said?
This July.
Oh, July. Close. Still.
Almost done. This is a great moment for the family, your family. Kind of a mixed blessing for us here in Town Hall because, we wish the best to you, but, we're going to miss you a lot. For those of you who don't know Dave, he served the U.S. Army, educated at Syracuse University. His work career started out at North Syracuse District, went up to the Central Square District to Cleveland Elementary, where my bride, Linda, was doing some of her student teaching, and she told me, "You have Dave Redmore working at Town Hall. He is the best." So I kind of give you an idea of what the folks in the education business think about him. He served on the Liverpool School District. He has served as an usher at the SU Dome events. And he survived. He'll give you a lot of good stories about that, what you see or don't see up at the SU events. The Onondaga County Board of Elections took advantage of his great training and expertise, and they had him as a trainer at the Board of Elections, so that's great. During our adventure during COVID, I had a real short expression I would have with Nicole, and it would be, "Is Dave on it?" And she'd say yes, end of the discussion. Everything was taken care of. And let me give you a couple of small examples. The window, as far as having tax payments, no cost item. The residents love it. Dave's idea. We expanded the service to the residents by having the drop box. He took care of that project. So he's been innovative, cooperative to serve the residents. So he's done all the, not only the academic stuff, but right down to helping people just do their everyday business. So that's all good stuff. And he's a car guy. So, Nicole.
Well, I just wanted to share a brief story. When I started at Texas, the advice I was given was make sure that was coming out here, I gave Dave a call and I was like, "You can to see, to help you get this all set up and see how it goes." 4 years later we are, and, now.
Don't know what's going on.
Nice city.
Years. Thank you, Bill. What's wrong? Just. Zoom. Thanks very much. I do appreciate it.
Okay, next item on the agenda is a public hearing for setting a speed limit. The clerk will please note the time, and she's assured me we've had the proper posting. Let me just give you a little background on this. The Taft Road has a little bit of a unique situation in that one side of the road is in the town of Cicero, the other side of the road is town of DeWitt. Another further down, one side's in Manlius and side's in Cicero. So we had to kind of have a little discussion, with the state, I'm sorry, the county DOT about that. And so here's where we're at today for our public hearing. So I'll read the public hearing. Whereas Taft Road is a Onondaga County road, and whereas a portion of Taft Road is in the town of Cicero, and whereas the town of Cicero is a suburban town and has the authority to set speed limits on county roads, and whereas following an inspection of East Taft Road in the town of Cicero by the Cicero Town Supervisor and the Cicero Police Chief, it has been determined that portions of East Taft Road in the town of Cicero should have speed limits reduced to promote better motor vehicle safety and better speed limit consistency. Now therefore resolved that the speed limit on East Taft Road in the town of Cicero shall be changed in the eastbound lane from the intersection of Northern Boulevard and East Taft Road to the DeWitt Cicero town line to 40 miles per hour, and be it further resolved that speed limit on East Taft Road in the town of Cicero on the westbound lane shall be changed from the intersection of Northern Boulevard and East Taft Road to the intersection of East Taft Road and Bastable Road to 40 miles per hour. And be it further resolved that the Cicero Highway Superintendent shall install all proper signage on the East Taft Road to meet the new speed limits stated in this resolution. And be it further resolved that the Cicero Town Board sets Wednesday, June 23rd, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. at 8236 Brewerton Road for a public hearing to consider the speed limit change on a certain portion of East Taft Road, and will be proposed by local law number 3 of 2021, effective upon filing with the New York State Secretary of State.
Second.
Ms. Boyke, further discussion on the public hearing, either for or against?
Supervisor, I received a phone call, and if I may,
Sure.
it was from Deborah and John Gardner, and they are against the speed being reduced. They said that regardless of whatever speed you put it at, that people drive whatever they want to anyway. So they are against the zone or the speed change.
Okay, thank you. Any further comments?
One thing, I remember talking about this a while ago, Chief Fortuno, was the original recommendation all the way to the town line? I thought it was two different, was it Fly Road?
So apparently this traffic issue has been going on, going back to my predecessor, Chief Snell. I started receiving complaints from residents in that area about vehicles speeding, and specifically about the truck traffic coming in and out and them getting up to speed, and along with the traffic coming in and out of the Circle K. So I checked the area, and my recommendation was to Fly Road, correct?
As it was town line.
except for the town road, because it would be definitive where the town line was. I think Fly Road, I think is in between, if I remember right. It's in the middle of the town, I'm gonna call it the DeWitt area.
DeWitt's down a little farther. I went to westbound to, it went 40 miles an hour to the Circle K, then it was up to 55, then do a suggested 40-mile-an-hour curve. My suggestion or my recommendation was from the Circle K at Northern Boulevard to where the suggested 40-mile-an-hour curve is, keep that consistent 40, then it would drift back into 55, the remainder of the eastbound traffic. That was my recommendation.
Okay, so we have an interesting situation where if those of you who are by the golf course, you'll find that the speed limit kind of goes up and down. And it's, 3 different towns, which makes it complicated. My goal is to still get after our folks with the county DOT to make it consistent for the whole area. Like it is on the further down Taft Road, when you get down by the post office. Right now, it's up and down, up and down. Yes, sir.
Well, I got some questions.
Sure.
Has there been a series of accidents in that stretch of road lately?
I do not have the numbers. Maybe the chief has, I don't have the numbers.
Off the top of my head, I don't have the numbers, but yeah, we just had a head on there within the last week or so, right there at Taft Road and Northern Boulevard.
Well, I've been driving it for over 60 years and I have never had a problem or with anybody else with the way it is. And for your information, 50 miles an hour is all the way to Taft, 298. There's no change from Northern Boulevard to 298. The speed limit is 50 miles an hour right now. Now, do we have to get approval from the town of Witt?
No, sir.
Because we share that road.
The part I'm speaking of is the part where the Cicero has both sides of the road, and on the northern side of the road where it's the town of Cicero. And you're pointing out exactly what I was concerned with and trying to get the county DOT to do, is to have it consistent.
But it's consistent, 50 miles an hour all the way.
Right.
There's no speed limit around that corner. You know, at Fly Road, years ago, there used to be a sharp bend there. 50 years ago, they took that out. Now you can make it at 50 miles an hour. Couldn't make it back then. So there's no speed limit from Northern Boulevard. I drive it every single day. Today I drove it 3 times. Now, Fly Road, he talks about Fly Road. Now he changes it to up to where the Witt town line. All of a sudden, that's Bastable Road. There's 3 houses on Bastable Road. I don't think anybody there, the traffic ceases. So you can go 50 miles an hour after that. I understand that. The only difference is the church entrance is about 100 yards prior to Bastable Road. Now, on Sunday morning, there is traffic going to the church, but there's no other traffic on the road, only from the church. Now, if they're going to change that, if the reason is the church wants it changed, I don't understand. Is it being changed because the church donated $3,500 to the Cicero Town Police several times last year? Is that the reason for the change?
I can
I'm not,
serve you mind 1 second.
I'll do it. Sir, the reason for the proposal is based on my suggestions and the police and the local residents.
You don't
And-
drive it. How many times do you drive it? You drive it every day?
I'm trying to answer this. And the residents and from input with the county legislator for the area and representatives from the state, I'm sorry, the county DOT. This was the action they recommended.
All these people you're naming and everything else, they don't drive it. I drive it every day and I have no
appreciate that.
problems.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And it makes me wonder, because of the donation Does things have to change?
I'm sorry, sir, that was not part of anything of my reasoning. Thank you.
I don't drive it every day, but I do drive it. And the accident. that you said.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any further comments from the board on the public hearing component? Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Clerk will please note the time. Okay, any further discussion from the board on that item before I get into number 5? Hearing none. Okay, the public hearing component is closed. Number 5 is setting the speed limit on a certain portion of East Taft Road, whereas the town board held a public hearing on Wednesday, June 23rd, 2021, at 6:30 PM at 8236 Brewerton Road to consider a speed limit change on a certain portion of East Taft Road. Now therefore be resolved, the speed limit on East Taft Road in the town of Cicero shall be changed in the eastbound lane from the intersection of Northern Boulevard and East Taft Road to the DeWitt-Cicero town line to 40 miles per hour. And be it further resolved that the speed limit on East Taft Road in the town of Cicero on the westbound lane shall be changed from the intersection of Northern Boulevard and East Taft Road to the intersection of East Taft Road and Bassville Road to 40 miles per hour. And be it further resolved that the Cicero Highway Superintendent shall install all proper signage on East Taft Road to meet the new speed limits in this resolution, and will be local law number 3 of 2021, effective upon filing with the New York State Secretary of State. Need a second? Okay, hearing no second, the item fails. Next item on the agenda is number 6, setting a public hearing, addition of a two-way stop sign at the intersection of the westbound of Monitor Way and Roller Coaster Drive. Whereas the town of Cicero has received traffic concerns and complaints from residents along the intersection westbound of Monitor Way and Roller Coaster Drive. And whereas the town supervisor and the Cicero Police Chief have inspected the intersection and are recommending an additional two-way stop be installed at the intersection westbound of Monitor Way and Roller Coaster Drive. Now therefore be resolved, the Cicero Town Board sets Wednesday, July 28th, again, Wednesday, July 28th at 6:30 PM at 8236 Brewerton Road for a public hearing to consider the installation of an additional two-way stop sign on the intersection westbound of Monitor Way and Roller Coaster Drive, and will be proposed by local law. That's going to have to be changed. That will be local law number 3 of 2021, effective upon filing with the New York State Secretary of State.
Second.
Mr. Carp, second.
I did. I'll take it.
Discussion on number 6.
I know this intersection. I think the stop sign's a good idea.
I was approached on my Facebook page by a couple citizens that live on Roller Coaster. I asked Chief kindly enough for him and his team to go out and check it out. They spent multiple days, I believe, out there, and I appreciate the work and what we're coming to, and I hope people show up and speak for and against so we can get this done.
I also agree. I just hope that once the sign is up, that they stop, because I travel through there a lot and almost have been hit a couple of times because they're just in a hurry to swoop around that curve.
Well, hopefully we'll have a traffic car soon that will be able to get the word out that people are getting stopped if they blow that stop sign.
The word was when they sent me a picture back, and there was one of our police patrollers there. Everyone was stopping. Going slow.
Complete stop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was pretty happy with that.
Just
So
park
let's
the car
fix
there.
it. Yeah, it's like the Indianapolis 500 through there. Like it really is to me.
Okay, further discussion on number 6. Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Boyke,
Yes.
Counselor Carp,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Bacallo.
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, item is adopted. Number 6, number 7 has been pulled. As a side bit of information on the subject, the brush vendor has been informed my office that a lot of people don't know about it, but if you have your own pile of brush, you have a project, please call the vendor. All the information is on the website, and you can take your stuff over there for no cost. So if you have your own project and you want to get rid of the stuff, please give them a call. Obviously, please don't just show up at the door with a truckload of stuff. Make a phone call ahead of time to
Take
make
it
sure
through the
that
gate.
they can accommodate you.
Okay, they're not gonna come and pick it up.
They're
You have
not
to take
picking it up.
to
These are
there.
private, I mean, if you got your own, tearing down a whole bunch of trees. you
Trailer.
gotta load stuff. So just identify yourself as a Cicero resident and please make the appointment ahead of time. Okay, moving on to number 8, Mike.
Set public hearing to consider a zone change to R15 on Route 298, tax map number 069.05-35.0. Whereas the applicant requests a zone change from general commercial GC to R15 residential district for the property located at 7841 Route 298. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board requests the planning board do a seeker review as part of their review of the application, and be it further resolved, the town board sets Wednesday, July 28th, 2021 at 6:30 PM at 8236 Brewerton Road for a public hearing to consider a zone change from general commercial GC to R15 residential for tax map number 69.05-35.0.
Second,
Second, Ms. Whitney, discussion on number 8. Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Boyke.
yes.
Counselor Carr.
Yes.
Counselor White.
Yes,
Counselor Bacallo.
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, item is adopted. Thank you. Number 9, authorize the approval of additional funding for the Darlene's Brook project 3754.71, whereas the town has received an amendment for additional federal 707,681 and state 186,142 and local 90,779 funding for a total of $1,384,602. And whereas the work was completed for less than the bid, resulting in a lower cost to the town of Cicero. And whereas the town board members have all received a copy of the supplemental agreement number 4, now therefore be resolved that the town board authorizes the town supervisor to execute supplemental agreement number 4 for the rehabilitation of East Circle Drive or Darlene's Brook, which is New York State DOT pin 3754.71.
Second.
Mr. Carr. Here's another example of our town engineer doing a fantastic job on this project. When the numbers were not coming in the way she expected, she went to the funding sources, made a couple phone calls, see if there may have been funding left on other projects, kind of like, here or there money on projects that weren't used. She contacted them, and due to her great work, we got additional funding for the project, and that lowered our local dollar cost. So great job from Kate. Any further discussion from the board members on this?
I'm
Just a
used to
comment.
Kate being over there.
Just a
Yeah.
comment. Thank you. Good job, Kate. My husband works at the mall over there, so he was sort of like had a bird's eye view of what went on for the whole time. Just a comment that the money, the town put it up. We bonded, is that correct? We bonded about $1 million to fund this project for the completion. And hopefully when all the money comes back, that we get all our money back and it doesn't cost us more than $90,000. Thank you.
Further discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Boyke.
Yes.
Counselor Carr.
Yes.
Counselor White.
yes,
Counselor Bacallo.
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, item is adopted. Thank you. Number 10, approval of fireworks permit, whereas the fireworks coordinator from American Fireworks Display LLC submitted a permit application, whereas the Lakeshore Yacht and Country Club Germanic Service Group Incorporated has submitted the $100 permit fee. Now therefore be resolved, Cicero Town Board approves for the supervisor to execute the fireworks permit and accept the permit fee for the event on July 2nd, 2021 at 6777 Lakeshore Road, revenue code A1255.
Second.
Wait, discussion? Just information of this, this event that they're having there is a members event. The parking along the area on Lakeshore Road, just remember if you happen to be through there, it's not open parking, it's going to be restricted parking. So just kind of be careful if you happen to be going through that area. It's not an open parking area. So clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Blakey,
Yes.
Counselor Carr,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Bacallo,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, item is adopted. Thank you. Number 11, the board approves pay increase for driver messengers, whereas the senior center is a need for bus drivers for future trips. And whereas the increase in pay rate was included in the approved 2021 Parks Department budget, now therefore be resolved, the Cicero Town Board approves the pay increase for driver messengers from $12.50 to $15 per hour, effective June 25th, 2021, budget code A677211.
Second.
Ms. White, discussion on number 11. Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Blakey,
Yes.
Counselor Carr,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Bacallo,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, item is adopted. Judy, number 12.
Approve payment to DE Tiroli for emergency sewer repair. Whereas OCD WEP Onondaga County Department of Water Environment Protection called to notify the town that the sanitary sewer in front of 7401 Topman Road had been broken and needed repair. And whereas the town engineer called DE Tiroli, the town sewer repair contractor, to fix the sewer, now therefore be it resolved that the town board approve the payment of $5,769.25 to DE Tiroli for work performed on June 8th, 2021 to repair the sewer in front of 7401 Topman Road, budget code SS 81204-1997. And be it further resolved that the town comptroller will be seeking reimbursement from the property owner.
Second.
Second, Mr. Paulo, discussion on number 12.
Did we surmise that the property owner somehow broke the sewer line, and that's why we're suing? Can you tell us what happened, Ms. Fiorello? Oh, wow.
Expensive building.
Okay, further discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Blakey,
Yes.
Counselor Carr,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Bacallo,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, item is adopted. Thank you, Jonathan.
Whereas Trey J. Loso LLC, owner of 6477 Lakeshore Road, has applied to the Onondaga County Industrial Development Agency for financial assistance to construct a 248-unit apartment complex at said location. And whereas the New York State Department of Transportation has concerns that this project will further exacerbate identified traffic problems at the Lakeshore Road and Route 31 intersection, now therefore be it resolved that the town board formally requests that the New York State Department of Transportation communicate these traffic concerns to OSIDA to supplement the town board's resolution of March 24th, 2021, formally opposing the owner's request for any financial assistance from OSIDA.
Second.
Mr. Paulo, discussion on number 13. Clerk will call the roll.
Blakey,
Yes.
Counselor Carr,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Bacallo,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, item is adopted. Okay, number 14 and 15. Generally, we have resolutions or local laws or whatever separately. I'm going to put these together so that they can be discussed together. So we're going to have number 14 read in, and then number 15 read in, and then so that we can discuss the two of them at the same time. I'm sure everybody will be able to keep that straight, but Ms. Boyke, would you like to start with number 14?
Establishing a committee to look into a Cicero comprehensive plan using a consultant. Whereas the town of Cicero wishes to develop a comprehensive plan, and whereas the services of a professional consulting company would result in a better plan in less time and would increase the chances of obtaining grants to reduce the local cost. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Cicero Town Board establishes a committee chaired by Councilor Judy Boyke, structured as following. Judy Boyke and one additional Cicero Town Council member, 2 members of the Cicero Planning Board, and 2 residents of the town of Cicero named by the Cicero Town Board. To be it further resolved, the committee shall be tasked with reviewing the proposals received by the town to do the comprehensive plan, determining the comprehensive plan in other towns in upstate New York, investigate opportunities for grant funding, determining what proposal is best fit, and value the town of Cicero. And be it further resolved, the committee shall present a report to the Cicero Town Board on August 11th so that the town board can determine the best course of action. That's number 14.
Okay, I'll second that, and then move on to number 15, please.
Establishing a committee to look into a Cicero comprehensive plan with in-house resources. Whereas the town of Cicero wishes to develop a comprehensive plan, and whereas the town of Cicero has current volunteer and employee resources to complete the plan, saving the taxpayers money. Now therefore, be it resolved, the Cicero Town Board establishes a committee chaired by Councilor Judy Boyke, structured as following. Judy Boyke and one additional Cicero Town Councilor, 2 members of the Cicero Planning Board, and 2 residents of the town of Cicero named by the Cicero Town Board. And be it further resolved, the committee shall be tasked with reviewing the comprehensive plan and other towns in upstate New York and investigate opportunities for grant funding and determine a schedule and action plan to develop a comprehensive plan. And be it further resolved, the committee shall present a report to the Cicero Town Board on August 11th, 2021, so that the town board can determine the best course of action.
Okay, just for a little background, what we discovered after checking out other towns in the area, some of them did have comprehensive plans. Some of them were done years ago and were updated as time went on. Others had engineering firms do it. So there's definitely not a one size fits all. Basically, it's based on the community and how many people they want to get involved. So we started gathering all these reports together. The one I received from Lysander, even with it being double-sided, was over 125 pages. And they're doing another one. They're doing an update. The town of Manlius has a real, I'm going to call energized website. It has a lot of information on it. And they have a number of outreach, so there are many plans out there. There are many versions of the plan. It gets to what fits that community. So rather than having a discussion, that's why we have a couple different approaches. In my mind, the first option is do nothing. Second option is to have a consultant do it. Obviously, that would help facilitate things. Third option would be to have it done in-house, cost less money. So there are pluses and minuses to each different idea. And so here we are today to have an open discussion, among the board members. So I'm open up for discussion. Just please identify if you're on one resolution or another.
Was that a second?
I second both of them.
Okay.
So who's going to talk first?
Well, it's open.
I will speak first, I guess. I have been working on this since February, when it was originally voted on to go forth. I have sat with 2 volunteers, Mr. Snyder and Mr. Bloss. both of which are fully qualified in the area to at least assist in going the right direction. During the course of time, we took one of the town maps and we started marking it up, trying to figure out the best location for a possible town center. Then we were looking at industrial. We were also looking at affordable housing. There was so many concepts involved with this. During this course of time, we realized we couldn't do this on our own. It is way, way, way too much for a layperson. With that said, I came back to the board and I proposed that we go out for a request for professional services. We did that and we received 3. We actually received 4. One of them came digital and not hard copy. During the time in February, Mike Hollow volunteered immediately to help. But at that point in time, there was really not a whole lot of that he could do other than I did have conversations with him. Also, Nancy White offered her services as well. I provided the old comprehensive plan, which is in 2006. There's no way that you could even attempt to start using that because it was never updated and it really was never followed. Since that time, we've moved our highway department, we've moved our Parks and Rec department. We are in a dire need to update the town hall because we are mandated to accommodate the new court system. With that said, when I asked for questions or concerns, there really wasn't one other than the fact of the cost and the timing. It's never too late. We must be proactive. Ms. White mentioned the fact that she felt that 2 residents looking at the proposals that came in wasn't really substantial. Those 2 people, one of them was Mr. Bloss, who is a highly qualified person. He's not just a resident. And the other was Mark Marzullo, who is the chairperson of the planning board. So I like to just correct Nancy for that.
I didn't say they weren't qualified.
Thank you. Mr. Meyer sent a list of questions, which I attempted to research, but the fact is, obviously, I'm as busy as every other counselor on this board and the supervisor. I did call Dan, I'm sorry, Kwasnowski, sorry if I mispronounced it wrong. He's with the Syracuse Onondaga County Planning Agency. I had a long conversation with him. We talked about grants, and there is a grant that is coming up probably in the next 2 weeks, the Empire State Development Grant. We have till the end of July to write this grant and put the application in. I asked him if we proceeded now, would we still be able to apply for that grant? And he said, absolutely. He said, being proactive is a good part of it, particularly the fact that we already have a scope of work. So we know what we're looking for because obviously we've sent that out with an RFP. Also, I spoke with a senator of the state, Rachel May, and there's also available money for comprehensive plans. I was sent an application and also the information to do that. I won't bore all of you with that, but I also contacted several of the other town boards, and I have a list right here. And by the way, there are 2 towns that don't even have a comprehensive plan. Believe it or not, Salina does not have a comprehensive plan. The other is a Tisco. All the other towns do have one. Some are old, some are being renewed, some are being revised, and some are being completely redone. The cost for us is about $50,000. Before I attempted to start this, I contacted our comptroller to make sure that we had money in place that we could use while we went out for grants, which are obviously available to us. With that said, I'll leave it open to the rest of the board members.
The Empire State Development Grant, how much money is available for funding?
$120,000 per town.
Okay, but how much total? Is it unlimited or how much, is we competing with towns across the state?
No,
for
we're
this?
not. Each town is allocated $120,000.
So anyone who applies for this grant gets it?
Yes, as long as they are applying and putting into place a comprehensive plan.
That doesn't sound plausible that anybody who applies gets it, because where would the funding for it come from? How would they budget for it?
It's through a grant.
That's right, but I mean, if every town in Onondaga County applies and every town gets $120,000.
They don't get it unless they show proof and a course of action and the fact that they have already a scope of work in place.
So every town that meets those criteria, even if it was every
Yes,
town.
yes.
Yeah, I can't speak to that. I haven't done the research on that. The idea of doing an in-house committee, which I believe some major towns, including Millis, the town of Cicero, which I would consider to be a peer town, that has done one. It was Lysander also in-house, Mr. Meyer?
Yes.
I think that at least that, in my view, addresses some of the concerns I expressed at the last meeting. Cost being one, although maybe everybody gets money for it. I really don't know. I'll have to look into that. Also, the fact that if you hire a consultant, you are time limited because you have a contract with them and you're racking up billable hours. And if changes, which I believe are coming, change what I call the last meeting, the underlying assumptions. I'll get to that in a second. Then basically all the money you've spent has been wasted. So I said underlying assumptions. I'm getting the impression some people might not have understood what I meant. So just want to say that briefly, since this is a very important issue for the town. When I say underlying assumptions, I mean, when you're going to do a comprehensive plan, you've got to, you're going to base your plan on certain things like Ms. Boyke talked that Mr. Bloss and Mr. Snyder looked at. You're going to look at, the infrastructure you have, intersections, the amount of traffic at those intersections, the amount of lanes at those intersections, the traffic control devices at those intersections, on-ramps and off-ramps for highways, traffic patterns. I think that's the type of thing I'm talking about when I say underlying assumptions. So if you have a good idea that a major project is coming, which is going to change those, people say, well, shouldn't we get started? Okay, you get started, you've based your getting started on things that then change, which means all or a significant portion of what you spent time working on and money if you're using a consultant, because again, if you look at these proposals, they're billing by the hour, has been wasted. And that doesn't really seem to be the best use of the public's resources, especially when it seems to me that these changes are increasingly likely to be coming. If you have an in-house committee where you're not paying people and you're not time limited by a contract, that's a certain number of months or years, you have more flexibility, a better ability to wait, maybe a better ability to react, because you have people who are only working on this project and who aren't working on projects for a dozen or whatever other towns. So, it's something I never even considered. When Mr. Meyer raised it, frankly, I really think it merits some discussion. I think that we have the resources here. I don't know, I might humbly, if we were going to move forward with this, wouldn't want the committee to be unwieldy and big. Maybe we might want a couple more people.
Yeah, John, I'm glad you bring that up. I don't mean to cut you off.
Not at all,
but-
not at
but
all.
My main concern is the committee, right? It's when you have more people that are governmental on this committee than citizens, I have a problem with that. I would like to see more citizens than governmental officials, right, than on that board. Because I just view that, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And we need to figure out, zone the town off, right? There should be a representative from the Brewerton area, from Bridgeport, North Syracuse, and Cicero proper. That's things that we can talk about, absolutely. But that's my concern, but I want more general public on this board than governmental officials.
Yeah, I would agree. We just want to make sure that if
It's
there is
not
going to be this committee, you just don't want it to get too big. Too many cooks in the kitchen is going to cause a problem, obviously. I agree.
I think two though, right? Two, I think it's even at that point.
Perhaps, yeah. You look like you wanted to say something, so.
Oh, I
didn't
do.
wanna
I was just
monopolize- Oh, no,
waiting for you guys
please, I don't
to
want to
finish.
monopolize it, so I'll keep talking, so go ahead, mister.
I spent a lot of time yesterday on the phone with Bob Petrovich. He's the economic development head for the county. He, of course, could not say definitively what's going on with White Pines, which I respect and understand. I gave him the basic layout. We're looking at doing a comprehensive plan, which is something I've been in favor of since day one. I do believe we need a plan. But knowing what's going on at White Pines, knowing who's involved statewide, our United States Senator, Mr. Schumer, I explained the whole situation to him and I said to him, what would your advice be to a town who is going to be impacted almost as much as Clay? I mean, we're the closest town to them. We're going to get the traffic. It's going to come our way. I'm hoping that if that happens, that our 31, 81, 11 issues are taken care of quickly. And he said, I said to him, if we can push this off for a year, he said, absolutely. We will definitely know within a year what is going on, that they understand the issues at 81, 11, 31, that this is going to be the catalyst that gets that intersection and that stretch of road fixed. Not to mention other spots on 481 that might be reached. As Jonathan has said before, maybe an on-ramp at Cutnoy Road at 481. So there's all those things going on. And I agree that, we need a plan, but if we start working on this plan, we pick a contractor, we start working on it, and now our scope of work has to change. The money changes. We're going to be paying again for stuff that they've already done. So I believe we need a plan. I don't think now is the time. We've also found out today that Mr. Katko's office, our congressman, says that a new plan for 81 downtown coming, and which will affect us also, is coming out next month. So there's another reason to see what's going on before we start spending taxpayers' money on this. And if anyone's interested, I spoke with the county executive's office today, Ryan. He's having a meeting tomorrow at the Clay Town Hall at 6:30 regarding White Pines. And it's open to the public. So I plan on going to that to see if there's what's going on, what they're going to speak of, if it's traffic, if it's just the people on Burnett Road that they want to know what's going on. But there are too many things going on right now for us to start spending at the low end $50,000 and at the high end for a contractor at $83,000 plus changes once we get going. I'm not convinced that doing it in-house is the perfect way to go, but if we put this off for a year, we can still have our committee. We can get the other towns' plans, see how they did, who they used, what they've done, what zoning needed to be changed, and have that all ready to go once we know what may or may not happen at that major intersection in our town. Thank you.
I'd like to address some of the comments that have been made. First of all of this traffic is going to happen whether we like it or not. It is already pre-planned and it's going to affect us regardless. These people know that they are going to affect Cicero. They know that the only 81 interchange is in Cicero. It's not a secret, whether it be tomorrow or whether it be 5 years from now. Part of, and I would ask if each of you had at least looked at the plans that were presented. Because first of all, the plan from MRB is $49,000 and something. It is the full scope of the work. That's it. start to finish. No extra, no nothing. And they are right along with all of the rest of the townships. It's part of a massive plan that includes several public meetings to include the residents it's massive. And there is no, I'll tell you right now, I would not be able to take care of and follow along for an internal house program. It's not impossible. I already tried to do it. It's impossible. If you look at section 272A, the town comprehensive plan, it's the legislative findings and the intent. And it talks about all of the things that you have to do. And the first very thing is land use. Land use is looked at. With the land use, once that's determined, obviously we have wetlands, we have historic, we have several different types of land use. That is the very first step. Then they follow along with looking for a possible center of town. It's all laid out. It's not, each town who has a comprehensive plan has already done that. They probably followed the same map. So all I'm saying is, I believe that we've put this off since 2006. And every time I believe it happens, that it's a situation where, well, something else is going to impact it. Well, I say the time is now. We need to start a comprehensive plan and go forward. We may not have to, we probably can't engage everyone right at the start, but at least we will have a plan in place and we can move forward when it's appropriate. Thank you.
All right.
Just let me get going. Couple other points that the board members all know, but they're all working on their points real quickly. The Onondaga County executive had a meeting with the town supervisors and then a following meeting with the mayors announced that Onondaga County is going to do an updated plan. It used to be called the 2010 plan. Now they're going to have an updated one. So I think it's our best interest to, one way or another, get our house in order, so to speak, as far as what our vision of the town is and where we're going, because that way we'll have something to deliver to the county executive as far as our vision. So that's a definite. They're going through the preliminary on that now, and it will be adopted next year. So just in case you didn't know about that. Another item that came up at the meeting, which I thought was very informative, is you don't always see in comprehensive plans, I'm going to call it a jobs section. You're actually now starting to talk about what are you as a community looking forward for jobs? What do you envision 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road? Which I think is a very positive thing. It can't just all be land-based. It has to be, hey, where are our kids and grandkids going to have a job? Or are they going to move to someplace else because they can't find a job? I think that's very important. The second one, which was not a factor when most of these other comprehensive plans were put together, is solar. Solar is coming to Cicero one way or another. It's coming very quickly. It's a very complex issue. For some, it's a benefit. For others who may live by and don't want to live next to a solar operation, it's not a positive. But solar is definitely coming to the town of Cicero and other adjacent towns. And so it should be included in the comprehensive plan. Just, we can't overlook it. Again, 20 years ago, it was not even considered. But that's an important part. So, Jonathan, do you have something else?
Well, yeah, a couple points. We say the traffic's coming. Okay, maybe it is, but we don't know what's coming. We don't know when it's coming. We don't know where it's coming. We don't know what changes are going to result from it coming. So people said, we got to have a plan. We should have a plan. At least we have a plan. We're going to spend money on a plan that's going to be obsolete. And then we're going to have to spend more money updating the plan if we go with a contractor. If we follow the in-house path, we can take our time and make sure the committee's together and react and be more flexible. With regard to cost, there is, I think the words not to exceed that are found in some of these in terms of the cost are very deceptive. What our town attorney tells me is not to exceed means we won't go over this until and unless we ask you for more. So there's no guarantee that is the absolute cost. There's no guarantee they're not going to say we need another 10,000, 15,000 to do this study or that study, or look at this, or look at that. So to say it's $50,000, it can't exceed, not to exceed is deceptive. It doesn't really mean not to exceed. It doesn't mean we're going to do absolutely everything you want for this price. It doesn't mean we might not ask for more money. You know, I agree with the rest of the board. I mean, I see the value in a plan. I just don't see the value of the plan. I don't see the hurry here. I mean, Ms. Boyke, you said that every time we talk about this, something comes up and blocks it, right? Is that what you said? Like there's always a reason to put it off?
Yes.
All right, in the February 14th, 2018 town board meeting, Supervisor Vineski put you in charge of moving forward on this. What blocked moving forward then?
I was blocked by no volunteers and the fact that he mandated me to come up with a cost. I was not in a position, and I never would be in the position to be able to put that together by myself. That was blocked, and it was deliberate by Mr. Vineski just to push me off and not allow me or allow the town to go forward at that time with a comprehensive plan.
How could you got volunteers this time though?
I have two, and I'll guarantee you right now, the reason that I'm asking for us to go forward with a professional is because both the volunteers are not going to be able to serve if it's an in-house committee.
Why is that?
Because one is almost fully retired and moving, and the other, as just said, he doesn't have the time, that all the time we've spent up to this point, and now it's being opposed. And I would ask if Mr. Meyer would allow, if either Mr. Snyder or Mr. Bloss would come to the microphone.
That's sorry.
I'm sorry. Okay, I will speak for both of them. They have made it clear that they will not be able to serve the full time that it takes, that we are all fully aware of, to even proceed. We don't have the professional capability to do this. We just don't.
I believe we do have the professional capabilities to do this, Judy. I respect everyone on this board. We have over 30,000 people in this town to pick from. And I know you smile and laugh.
Well, I'm
There's-
only
there's-
smiling. Excuse me, Mike.
There's many people that are engineers in this town. There's many intelligent. We have doctors here. And I have to give credit where credit's due to Supervisor Meyer. This is not just about traffic. This is about health, safety, well-being, security of our
that's
of our
all-
town moving forward.
But Mike,
That's what this is encompassed of.
that's all in the
shouldn't be-
scope of
It
this.
shouldn't be these 5 or 6 people.
I totally agree, but do you have the time to head it up?
That's why
I
you're
asked,
making the argument for me. I respect you so much. But again, me personally, one person, am I an expert in comprehensive plan? No, which none of us up here are. But we have citizens in this town that certainly know a lot more. I get emailed and phone calls constantly from people that are engineers that have actually worked on. architects
I'll
that
tell you
worked on
what,
plans like this.
we-
We have the capabilities.
we-
We have the people here in Cicero that can do this.
all right,
And if anybody that thinks otherwise, you shouldn't be on this. You should not be up here.
I never said that. When we had our last meeting, I had 2 people that sent me an email and volunteered. 2 people. And it's been 60 days or more. It was published in the paper. It was online. 2 people who are just residents. That's it. Where are all these
We
volunteers?
haven't agreed to move forward in anything.
Well,
So
yes,
why would
we
you
did.
volunteer for something?
No, we did.
Judy, we agreed to move forward with the RFP. We still have to, as we're doing tonight, we still have to agree with moving forward.
But voting for the RFP is like voting for a public hearing. It doesn't mean you're going to vote for the thing in the public hearing. It doesn't mean you're going to accept any of the proposals. It's just
I
procedural,
understand it.
a procedural mechanism.
I don't think any of us are arguing up here about the importance of a plan. Every single one of us have all spoken about how important it is for a plan.
We got to do it right.
All of us are.
And if the town of Camillus, which, certainly is a large town, I call it a peer town. They've got great economic development out there. I'd love to have a movie tavern and a Costco. If the town of Camillus can do it themselves, the town of Lysander can do it themselves. If they have the capability, why would we not have the capability of doing it? And I respect Mr. Bloss and Mr. Snyder a lot. I have supported them being on the planning board. I voted for them. They've done a great job. They've been involved in just about every project since I've been on the board for 5 years. But we can't base, and with all due respect to those gentlemen and all the stuff they've done for the town, we can't base our decision of moving forward with one of these options on whether or not they're going to be able to participate, which is kind of what it seemed like you just suggested. There's other members of the planning board. I mean, we've got an ad hoc and 3 more regular members of the planning board that we can talk to. We can talk to Mr. Marzullo. You know, there's no reason that it has to be these 2 people. We need to move forward with hiring a consultant to keep them on.
It wasn't intended to be suggested that way.
Okay.
The most democratic republic thing we can do as a town board is letting the citizens decide what the future of this town will be. The more citizens that are on this board, the better we will be.
There's also the members of the zoning board who could have a great input.
Yeah.
Good point.
We have some real talent on there as well.
Mhm.
Okay, Judy, I think you can count. I don't think you're right now counting to 3. To have 3 votes for number 14, would you like to consider moving that up to the next meeting?
I think there's 3 for 15, wasn't there?
Well, we have to deal with 14 first.
I'm
Oh,
sorry,
okay.
I'm sorry, 14, I misspoke, 14. You have any thoughts on that idea?
Sure,
Okay,
put it up for vote.
we're up for a vote.
I move that we table number 14 then.
Okay, we have a motion to table, which takes precedent over the initial motion and a second. No discussion on the tabling. Clerk will call on the motion to table number 14. I'm sorry, I did not hear a table indefinitely or a table to a date.
Table indefinitely.
That's kind of hard.
All right. What's the first, second, what meetings dates do we have in
You want to go,
in August?
we can do the August
11th?
meeting.
Um,
August 11th.
Fine, I move,
August 11th. Clerk, can you verify August 11th is the date?
That's what's in your-
yeah, I just want to,
Just so we're.
Do you need a second on the table?
yes.
Yeah, I don't think we got one.
Well, let me amend it
We're
first.
just gotta get the right thing first.
Yes, August 11th and 25th are the 2 dates and, for the town board meeting.
Fine, I amend my motion to move that we table the item 14 to the town board meeting scheduled for August 11th, 2021. Need a second.
Mike, will you seconding?
Second.
Okay. Okay, clerk will call the roll on the tabling motion to,
Can we discuss before?
Can't discuss the table.
we don't, we
Can't
don't,
discuss
we
the
don't
table.
not
Never
discuss
mind
table.
that. It was a procedural question here is what it was.
Right. To take it off. Right, but we just did a table to a date certain, so. The date certain. Okay, I'm just gonna ask the clerk, are you all set with the tabling motion? You got that all together? Okay,
Yes.
clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Boyke,
No,
Counselor Carr,
Aye.
Counselor White,
No,
Counselor Bacallo,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes. Item is tabled to the date stated in the resolution or in the tabling motion. Okay, Jody, number 15. Any thoughts
I
on
read
number
it.
15? I'm sorry, what?
you're just looking for discussion?
Yes.
It's pretty obvious that I, first of all, will not be able to share it because it is, I already know it's too intense. It's too involved. Even though I have a lot of the ability, I cannot really dedicate as much time as I have dedicated so far. And I believe that if there are so many volunteers out there that I would find it interesting that whomever is going to be able to head this up should be able to, whenever we do something with this committee, to go ahead with it. But I can say right now that I would not be able to chair it.
Okay, that being said, you made the motion on number 15. You have the option as the sponsor to make an amendment to that. Did you have any thoughts on restructuring that resolve where you're named or? What are your thoughts?
Well, I really know because I wasn't expecting this. Again, I'm blindsided. I was not expecting to have to even go into this conversation. So I don't know what to do with it. Mr. Jermaine, could you please advise? And continue it. I make a motion to continue this.
Yeah, I just want to be clear, Judy, you're the sponsor of this resolution. You introduced it and you want to take your name off. Is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
please.
Okay, is there any objection to taking Councilor Boyke's name off as the chair?
No.
Okay, hearing none. So did you have a name you wanted to put in there as one of the counselors? or-
I'd just like to know which one of the council people up here would volunteer to do it.
Okay, what you're asking for right now is.
I'm
you do
asking
not-
for a
I'm sorry,
volunteer.
I'm sorry, you
chair.
do not
I'm
have a
sorry.
motion to amend this. If you want to yield the floor, I'll open the floor to amendments to that first resolve as far as who the chair of the committee would be. So open up to discussion.
Judy, this is still accomplishing what you wanted. I don't know why you wouldn't want to chair this.
I can't share it. I don't have time. I know how involved it is. This is a real in-depth program. And every one of you, if you had read the proposal that was given to you, plus the last proposal that was done in 2006, you would understand the complexity of this. I cannot do it without the help of a professional, period.
Okay, are you open to a thought, Judy?
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to offer a suggestion on the first resolve. Take out the wording chaired by Councilor Judy Boyke, structure as follows, and have that, there are two members of the Cicero Town Board, two counselors, and without your name in there, and not naming a chair. Is that acceptable to you?
Yes, it is.
Okay, is there any objection by the board members?
No objection.
Nope.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. And the item, the change was done by the sponsor, so we don't need to go through that. I'm going to, yeah, as amended. Okay, further discussion, resolution number 15 as amended.
Well, do we want to change that, the
Yes,
makeup?
the makeup of the board, if we could do.
Right, that's the only part I
Of the
asked
committee.
Judy, the only part I asked Judy was the taking her name out and having two. If there are other thoughts, I'm more than happy to.
I mean, can we put something in there saying that, subject to change or subject to,
This is all coming back on August 11th, so you can, that's the committee report, it's August 11th. You can do whatever you want to after.
Two citizens from the town.
Okay, so we'll have it and change it to, blah, blah, blah.
oh, yeah.
It already says two residents.
So you're saying four, Mr.
You're saying
McCallum?
four residents? It already has
Four residents, two, make it four.
four. Okay, Ms. Boyke, are you okay with changing it to four residents?
No.
No. Okay, that being said, Mr. Bacali, you're going to need to make a motion for an amendment to change it to four.
I make it an amendment to make the change of two residents to four.
I'll second that amendment or that motion on the
Okay.
amendment.
All right, I'm going to cut off any debate on that, and the clerk has that, changed to the two residents to four residents? Okay, clerk will call the roll on the amendment to change the two to four residents.
Counselor Boyke,
No.
Counselor Carr,
Aye.
Counselor White,
Yes,
Counselor Patillo,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, all right. That's the second amendment. Are there further amendments on this resolution?
No.
Hearing none, clerk will call the roll on the amended
Well, I-
resolution.
But I would say one thing, three of us up here, Mr. McCallum, Ms. White, and I have all expressed interest in being on this committee if this option were to be selected. So none of us are, I think we just need to try to work it out between us, who is going to be involved, because there can only be two of us.
Correct.
So when, I just didn't want anyone to get the impression that Ms. Boyke is saying who's going to do this and none of us are talking. I think it's all of us, we wanted to work it out among ourselves and not, I think, at least speaking for myself, no one's looking to step on anybody's toes at a public meeting.
Correct.
And I'm up to my eyeballs in solar, so.
Yes.
So we're going down that road.
Not to mention myself.
Right, yeah, Ms. Boyke
Yep.
and I are we're getting quite an education on solar. Thanks to the engineer and the town attorney, we're going to get through it. Okay, we have an amended resolution number 15. Clerk is all set on the amendments. Clerk will, no?
The one on the 15 is going to be changed to chaired by two counselors. And the other one is
Yeah, it's not chair, it's just going to be two chair. There's no chair and it's just going to be.
no
two.
chair,
No chair, just two counselors.
just two
And-
counselors.
And
then
the item for
four
the
residents.
residents is going to be from 2 to 4.
Okay, that's it. And that's what I'm making.
That's what you're doing. Okay, so you're all set, right?
Who's the first and who was the second?
The first, I had the first, Ms. Boyke had the first motion on it, I had the second.
And then the one
And
before,
for the- and for the amendments, we had. that
I
elsewhere.
made the motion and then
Yeah, you
John
had-
seconded.
you had the Kahlo and Cart for the second to the fourth resident. Now what's this, who made the motion for this one?
This is the actual whole thing this time.
You're gonna have three separate
No, we're voting on the whole thing as
The whole
amended.
thing as amended.
now. All right then. Well, we're
We're
just gonna
good.
call the vote. That's
We're
what gonna
good.
do. Okay. Counselor Boyke,
No,
Yes.
Mr. White,
Yes.
Counselor McCallum,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, item is adopted as amended. Jonathan, number 16.
Whereas there's an opening for a new seasonal part-time deputy tax receiver, now therefore be it resolved that the town board approves the appointment of Carol Murphy to the position of seasonal part-time deputy tax receiver effective July 1st, 2021 at a pay rate of $15.30 an hour.
Second.
Second, Ms. White. Discussion on number 16. Clerk will call the roll.
yes,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
McCallum,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, item is adopted. Jonathan?
Whereas there's an opening for a new seasonal part-time tax clerk, now therefore be it resolved that the town board approves the hiring of Karen Kiggins as a seasonal part-time tax clerk effective July 1st, 2021 at a pay rate of $13.50 an hour.
Second.
Second, Ms. White. Discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Boyke,
yes,
Counselor Cart,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor McCallum,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, item is adopted. Thank you. Informational item on Cicero mixed-use residential development. I think Wayne has things together and we have a representative. Did you have any electronic component on this? We talked so long ago, I'm,
To the town,
Is this something?
there it is.
All
okay,
righty.
thank you.
Do have a couple items I'm just gonna hand out real quick. Employer ID, your own land surveying.
thank you.
The board's not familiar with this property. It's located on the west side of Route 11, the north side of Route 31. Property's been vacant for a number of years. So basically what I handed out to everybody is a little packet that we put together. Like I said, this property is located in west of Route 11, north on the north side of Route 31. It's been vacant for years. Years ago, it was zoned our apartments. Back when, I think 2017, town did the whole rezoning of this property of all of Cicero. This property was rezoned to general commercial. The current property owner didn't have a problem with that because at the time, general commercial allowed for apartments. So it really didn't change anything for them as far as going from our apartments to general commercial. I believe the board's aware that now we don't have apartments allowed in general commercial. So here we are we're back in front of the board. Thinking about where we want to do another zone change. We're hoping to go with the PUD this time. Now, there's a few. Here. So as I was saying, they are looking to ask for a PUD. I don't know if the board's familiar with a PUD. There's a lot more control to the boards of the town and a lot of the aspects of the overall project. One of the main concerns with any project like this is traffic. One of the couple items that I handed out tonight was my correspondence with the state DOT. So back in 2019, we had approached state DOT with a apartment project that had over 200 units in it. Wanted to make sure they were on board with allowing us an access to Route 31 for the 200 units that we were proposing. Did get approval for 250 units for this site with a full egress out and a right in to the property. That's what we're kind of showing on this. Want to point out that we're no longer doing that. We're not proposing 200 plus units. What we're hoping to do is a mixed use development with townhouses and single family residents and apartments all back there. And the plans that you guys have here have roughly 120 units plus or minus here. So that's more than half of what the DOT is already basically approved for this project. The property's all vacant. If you look at the zoning map that I gave to you guys, all general commercial out around us. Got the auto auction behind it. You got now I can't think of the west of us is the existing apartments that are being done by Alvarici and the I can't think of American Legion. There we go. American Legion is over there to the west. In the front, you have a mixed use of some residential and some commercial out front along Route 31 that are being used that way. And to the east, you have some residential over there. One reason we did the plan the way we have it is specifically to the east for the residents that are over there. You see all single family and condo or townhouse units. On the west side, more towards the townhouse, or I'm sorry, to the west side, over next to the apartments and to the back of the property, we're proposing the apartments on this project. So we're hoping that townhouses and the single family over there, kind of a nice buffer between the residents that are to the east and pushing the apartments to the west side of this where there already is an existing apartments over there with all the Ricci's. And a couple things about doing a PUD. One thing we're hoping to do is an overall HOA with this. And we're actually looking to do private infrastructure, the roads, some of the utilities and all that. So that's part of the benefit for both the town and us to do it that way. But what we do is like small individual, I want to call them building envelopes for the residential, the single family and the townhouses. So each individual unit, they would own their own individual property, like a square building envelope. Wouldn't necessarily have what we call traditional public road frontage, but each person would own their own individual lot. They would all pay into an HOA where the private roads, would be all private, and they all, including the apartments, including the townhouse, everybody pays the HOA that would take care of everything. One of the benefits of that, again, town doesn't take on so much infrastructure. Went to a traditional R apartment. If we were asking for an R apartment zoning instead of the PUD, wouldn't be able to do that type of HOA with the private roads and private down through here because of the zoning requirements for the lot setups. So that was the other reason why we're asking for PUD versus our apartments. I want to make sure also that if we went for our apartments versus PUD, we would not be able to get, we're not able to get more units going PUD. We're asking for roughly 120 units per our apartment zoning with the way the zoning code is written. You could get roughly 130 units on this property with the acreage that's acceptable. So again, we're not asking for any more units than what would be allowed with our apartment. We're actually asking for a little bit less with this setup. The PUD basically here tonight, where this is like the preliminary review, trying to get the board on, the town board on, and help us move this forward. With a PUD, eventually we'll put in a formal application, full engineering, full architectural, full game. It's kind of like a site plan instead of like the typical, just rezone it and then go for subdivision type of thing. Right now, we're hopefully gonna get some. Hopefully, we've addressed some of those specifically with water, gas, everything's available. Hopefully,
Would the roads be the town specs? Okay, the apartments are market rate, they're senior apartments. Tell me about the apartments. What are
okay. Cicero is the developer and potential applicant, and he would be able to give more specifics on that kind of question.
they? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, apartments right now would probably be market rate. Thinking anywhere, bedrooms being talked about. The idea here is that some of you know me, that I have a background and I've worked in 35 years. I have a real good handle on happening in town Cicero. We feel that this community will have a little prestige to it because it's back off the road. It's going to address everybody's demographic. If someone is an investor, if someone's looking, well, we think there's going to be a huge demand down in Cicero. Want to be able to. I'm putting townhomes on blocks 3 and 4. I'd like that spot, and I might want to do patio home. Want to be able to light on our feet, versatile, and accommodate.
Okay, do I see garages on the outside of that?
Yep.
Okay,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
the rent. What's the additional rent for the garages?
Don't know that. I don't have any of those figures yet.
Okay,
But we're not targeting any subsidized income.
Mike, what are you looking at for cost for townhouses or the,
Ask that.
no, I know.
Well, truthfully, we've been pricing houses this last couple of months, and until we start it,
I know, you can't
very,
even,
very up and down. The national news has said that the lumber has come down. It hasn't reached here.
Mm.
A lot of the customers are kind of waiting this out. If you're not familiar with me, I do sell new homes. That's what I've done for 35 years. I've been a resident of the Cicero area for 35 years. So this type of project is definitely a demand. This is before all the whispers growth that is in central New York right now. My organization, Home Builders, up in center stage all the time. The project you mentioned, Hines is coming. Things are going to happen. You're going to take care of 81. Got this issue there. They have to. There's other things that are coming. Go ahead.
And I can't believe I have to ask this about a residential project, but apparently nowadays we have to. Do you anticipate seeking a pilot for this project?
No. This is
Okay.
a project.
Well, you never wouldn't think you'd have to ask on a residential project, but now apparently we do. So, okay.
I
So you
know.
do not anticipate, we have you on the record saying you do not anticipate seeking a pilot. All right, thank you.
Townhomes are near and dear to me. I live in a townhouse. I love it. My hope, I see townhomes, I get excited. There's a lot of younger people in this town that we frankly like to stay here. If you can't afford a regular home, as you call it, townhome, I hope they're priced well for younger people as well.
Well,
It's my hope.
obviously we need them to sell. So
Right.
we're gonna hit the market. It's just unfortunate, if you would have asked me this pre-COVID, I would be able to, bark off some numbers to you and say, building for X a square foot, this townhome is gonna sell for 75. It's bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,400 square feet, 2-car garage, full basement, good to go with all the bells and whistles. Hey, it's different.
Are they gonna be
So-
2-car or 1-car garages? Two?
So, and then the apartments will have garages around them too. It's just, we floated a name out to marketing this, kind of called it Americana of Cicero. Neighbors, maybe having some historic names to the site itself, so kind of excited about it.
Okay, I'm a little curious on the condominium, 3-story, 12-unit, and how that would be set up with a HOA, with the townhouses and the apartments. Tell me how that would work.
The HOA is for the community.
Right, but with the apartment
The
owner,
apartments are
apartment
just
unit,
apartments.
just a regular apartment unit.
Correct.
So they're not part of the
Oh,
HOA.
they're for rent.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And so you're looking to be the owner for the apartment part?
Well, it's funny you should ask. We have, 2 prominent builders that have built with, in the town of Cicero, looking at that site right now. Something we have up in Brewerton, so talked to a couple different builders. That might be a separate entity. Builder and built apartments type of thing.
Okay, the condo part, the 12-unit condo, would each one of them be part of this HOA group with the townhouses?
I'm not sure of the legality of that yet. I'm not 100% sure. Just wanted to see if you like the concept.
Okay, I'm repeating some points that you and I talked about before, just so the board
Yeah.
understands we've asked about this. I'm going to tell you, you're going to be very, very, very fortunate if you have a 12-unit condo building and to be able to have that work, where you'd have a president of the condo association, a vice president, and secretary treasurer, and you only have 12 units. You're, in my humble opinion, you're being very optimistic that you're going to get 3 units to be able to take on that responsibility. So it's,
That I don't know.
right, I'm just giving you my thoughts, so.
Other questions from the board?
No, it's a really interesting project. Certainly it's timely if everything develops and play as we
Yeah.
think it will.
And there are other things that, at a later time, I could be privy to the board,
Yeah.
but the county, the home builders talks regularly with Ryan McMahon, so we kind of, happening in this county plus the drone corridor going
Yep.
out, so, but, the reason people want to live here is we're at the crossroads.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
See
you.
you at the planning board.
Really appreciate everybody's time. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Okay, next item on the agenda, number 19, install signs at Marywood and Forest Drive. Whereas there is a sharp curve at the intersection of Marywood Drive and Forest Drive, and the area is often used by bicycle and pedestrian traffic. Now therefore be resolved, Cicero Highway Superintendent is directed to install appropriate W1-1L, that's in left, and W1-1R, that's in right, at the intersection of Marywood Drive and Forest Drive, along with a suggested speed limit of 15 miles per hour.
Second.
Mr. Carp. As you know, we've talked about this a few times. The town of Cicero does not have the authority to have unlimited speed limits. They have to be within certain parameters. This particular signage is more what I would call, because I'm somewhat colorblind, a yellow or orange sign, which is generally something like an intersection, streets coming in, suggestions, main lane changes, things like this. So this is an educational directive to the drivers in that area, and hopefully they will take the suggestion to be notified of the sharp curve because it can kind of get upon you very quickly and to reduce your speed accordingly. So discussion on number 19. Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Blakey,
yes,
Counselor Carr,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Bacallo,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, item is adopted. Ms. White.
Cicero Town Board authorizes the town comptroller to be the authorized official to apply for American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, the Coronavirus State Local Fiscal Recovery Fund, and Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund. Whereas the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, requires numerous documents to be completed by non-entitlement units like Cicero to receive funds from this act. And whereas the town of Cicero is required to provide assurances of compliance with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And whereas the town of Cicero is required to provide documentation to receive funding under the Coronavirus State Fiscal Recovery Fund and the Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund, and Cicero Town Board members have been provided with information on these applications. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Cicero Town Board designates the Cicero Town Comptroller, effective immediately, to be the authorized official / representative for documents and information related to applying for these funds.
Second.
Discussion on number 20. Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Blakey,
yes,
Counselor Carr,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Bacallo,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, item is adopted. Okay, number 21, for those of you who read these agendas very carefully, you will notice that the item on the screen here is a replacement number 21 because due to the great work from the clerk, we were able to get the required wording so that the Legion Post could go forward with their commercial license. It didn't change the intent, it just did additional clarification on the process that the Legion is going through. So again, 21 commercial gaming license, James Harvey Spire, 787 American Legion, commercial gaming license, whereas the town of Cicero has considered the request from the James Harvey Spire, 787 American Legion organization for a commercial gaming license to conduct ongoing bingo operations at the property at 5575 Legionnaire Drive in Cicero, whereas the town of Cicero finds the proposed operation, if conditionally approved, serves a public entertainment need, and whereas the proposed operation will not serve as a detriment to the neighborhood or community, it would not represent a danger to the environment in which the operation is proposed. Now, therefore, it be resolved, the license is contingent upon the receipt of a rent determination letter from the New York State Gaming Commission and the payment of $510 from the Legion for the commercial lesser license fee. And be it further resolved, the town of Cicero approves the issuance of a commercial gaming license to the James Harvey Spire 787 American Legion located at 5575 Legionnaire Drive in Cicero for the strict and restricted purpose of conducting bingo games with the condition that the games be held on behalf of the Syracuse Brigadier Organization only, and that will expire 12/31/2021. Budget code A 2540.
second,
Second, Ms. Boyke. Discussion on number 21. Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Blakey,
yes,
Counselor Carr,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Bacallo,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, item is adopted. Thank you. Ms. White.
The board approves the hiring of Parker Wyatt and Sakai Lewis as seasonal part-time laborer one. Whereas the highway department has a need to fill multiple seasonal positions. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board approves the rehiring of Parker Wyatt and Sakai Lewis effective June 28th, 2021 at a pay rate of $15 per hour. Budget code DB 511012.
Second.
Second, Mr. Bacallo. Discussion on 22. Clerk will call the roll.
yes,
Counselor Carr,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Bacallo,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, item is adopted. Before we do 23, which is the last regular item on the agenda, I'd like to point out to the residents, we will be going into executive session. The item that we're we're going to be discussing will not be taking a long time. So, we'll be right back, after we do that. So, okay, and I'll be asking the Mr. Jermaine to come in with us when we do that. Oh, and the engineer. Thank you. Okay, Jonathan?
Whereas the Law Enforcement Support Office, LESO, or LESO program facilitates Title 10 United States Code, Section 256A, which originated with the National Defense Authorization Act of fiscal year 1997. This law allows transfer of excess Department of Defense property or equipment that might otherwise be destroyed to law enforcement agencies across the United States and its territories. And whereas on May 19th, 2021, Cicero Police Department was contacted by the NYS LESO office regarding the availability of an unarmored Humvee, or it stands for a high mobility multi-purpose wheeled vehicle, that was available for transfer through the federal government's 1033 program. And whereas the Humvee has 9,118 miles, is a good working order, has been painted white, has a light bar attached to it, and is wired for radio. The original acquisition price for the federal government was $50,458. The town of Cicero is acquiring the vehicle at no cost. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board approves the transfer of the Humvee from the 1033 program to the Cicero Police Department.
Second.
Blakey, discussion?
Just want to point out, this is an unarmored vehicle. I've seen before that some police departments get armored vehicles. I don't think that a suburban town has a need for an armored vehicle. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, but Broome County had a couple they were going to be disposing of and then decided not to, correct?
Yes, sir. We've been on the list for a Humvee for quite a while, along with other property that we do receive through the 1033 program. We were contacted by the state back over the winter time. We were in line. This is a high demand vehicle. We were in line, and this happened to be timing. That's when Broome County got hit with 50 inches of snow, and they decided that they didn't want to give up their vehicle because they used that vehicle during that emergency for emergency response, assisted the fire department and also the ambulance crew, and also assisted with bringing food and like Meals on Wheels to seniors down that way. So that's going to be one of our purposes for that reason, along with other issues that we're dealing with here in town. But it's going to be a limited use vehicle, and if we don't use it, we return it.
I just point out one other thing. I told the chief that I would not support, and he really shouldn't expect the board to support the allocation of any funds to paint this vehicle or equip it. So if it's going to be painted or anything like that, it would have to be donated because this was not a budgeted item.
And we already have 3 businesses in the town that are looking to donate paint it for us.
Outstanding.
Okay, I don't know where some of this wording came from for the first whereas, where it says some of the excess equipment would be otherwise destroyed. I think that's a bit of an exaggeration. I've been known to be down to the regional market at my brother's stand, selling everything from canteens and cots to all kinds of military equipment, even gloves. So, and Hummers, frankly, if you're going to buy them, are hot items. They're sometimes a bit of a challenge to license. I don't think this one was licensed anyplace, was it? The challenge on these vehicles to get them licensed is generally DMV likes to see the title from where you came from before. And if you can't walk in with a title, it's pretty hard to use. So they end up having unusual uses. They end up being farm vehicles. They end up being through the backwoods. People like to get out in the woods and do that kind of stuff. So that's interesting use. So you don't expect to license this.
No, it's not going to be licensed. It's going to be a special purpose vehicle with a police plate on it.
Right. So it's not something that you would generally, you're going to see patrolling the neighborhood. It had to be a special use. So, okay. I totally understand it. I mean, I don't know. There's probably maybe 4 of us in the room who've ever driven a Hummer. It's definitely not a drive around the lake vehicle. Is that safe to say? Okay. It doesn't have a high capacity of cargo. Seats are interesting. Canvas sides, that's kind of interesting. Diesel, not exactly a Kia as far as the mileage. So I understand that it serves a purpose. I don't see it as the proper image, the proper message we're trying to put out to the community that we need a Hummer. So any further discussion on number 23?
I think it's the modern equivalent of the venerable Jeep from World War II. It really is. I understand what Mr. Meyer's saying. Again, which is why I wouldn't have supported an armored vehicle. I mean, I've seen, examples of towns that have 5 or 6 part-time police officers with literally, MRAP mine resistant armor protected vehicles. That's, if it was an armored vehicle, I would agree. But this is basically the modern version of a Jeep. And it's a special purpose vehicle used for, parades or for weather emergencies. So if it were going to be driving around patrolling, I would agree that wouldn't present the proper image. In this case, I don't think that's really a danger.
I mean, if we were in the Tug Hill, if we were around Fort Drum, if we're around, places like that where, I can't, I don't really feel too sorry for the folks in Binghamton because I lived there for a while when they get 50 inches of snow, because they get maybe 80 inches of snow for the whole year. Not like 120, and certainly not like the Tug Hill. So I hear what they say, but I got to tell you, a lot of those folks in Binghamton would last one season of, as they say, north of the thruway. So,
I believe that when that snow melts, we have a flood issue.
oh yeah.
And seeing as I live in the flood zone, and I have experienced it twice, that if that was the case and we had a vehicle to rescue me, I would be welcoming it. Thank you.
For discussion on 23. Clerk will call the roll.
Blakey,
Yes.
Kerr,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Bacallo,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
No, item is adopted. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second, and again, there will be no votes taken in there. The attorney and the engineer are invited. We will be back, and then we'll bring up the next regular item on the agenda. Got to be here.
All right, so. For that, I'll let her know. Okay, all right, sounds good. All right, I'll talk to you later.
Good luck. I don't know if they do it. I don't. But, talk them down. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Race home, put that all inside. Oh, I didn't set it out on the counter. Like, preheat the oven at 5:15. So whatever, did my 11 miles, came back, jumped in the shower, and she had it. Pick it out, and the dog's like standing. Now I'm playing with my water can. And she put it on a plate for you. Maybe I said, "You got it."
Hey, tonight, come in, they last almost 11
I was on
o'clock.
my dog this Friday, and our dog was like,
Like, yeah,
birthday.
10:30, 11 o'clock. Back then it was Chuck. Put an egg tank out there. Got 3 minutes. 3 minutes of thing. You were sit down. People walk in and sit. Entertaining. I have always back. rid of the. Yeah. You don't need that. Under, I'll put you in there. Fine, yeah. But it's always that jam. Yeah. Every year we got about. We have a big. Who's our? Years, when the kids were little, we slept on the couch. Yeah. Now we have a king size bed. Had it for a year, my son was. Door, can't get on the bus.
Yeah, it's like a phone. A car behind it.
No, it was a big thing. You can't talk, you have radiation. But your whole life gets through time and then you can't.
So, on dog parks or gifts or that, where they get water.
Yeah.
So like, it's all, you know, there's just certain things that they don't like. But then they.
No, because just tell me at home. Tell me now, all I do is this. Fish, I don't want. Any sporting, but I don't watch it. All I do is yeah.
Consequences for not doing this.
Go stuff in the barn.
Throw on walk if you're.
He does, he takes care of.
Anyone in.
Yeah, right.
But then again. I'm more active in North Africa. If I put it down. My daughter went last week, and I went last week.
Can't tell you anything other than they voted. They never tell you what it's about.
But the nice thing was still, I hate the wind, whatever. And my daughter, she ended up going there and she had suffered like to be calm. Well, like typical. Oh, yeah, different things. All but, well, last week,
Yes. What is that?
I love, yeah. Vermont, the class, like all that, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. See this?
Yeah,
This?
I love it. It's for two schools, I stayed up there. I love it.
35. I did it.
I mean, you're so close to. Like, yeah, yeah.
Big part of it, yeah. What is she eating?
Student transfer, yeah, you know, yeah.
Short, yeah. The rice is that.
Oh my God, all this. Great.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Potatoes, bread. Give her.
No one else will come in right now or. Block that collar.
Yeah. Clerk will please note the time, no executive session, no votes were taken. We'll get back to the regular agenda item, discussion. Next meeting, July 14th. It's my hope and the hope of the town engineer that we're going to have a interesting program on that meeting. and that we're looking to have the State Department of Transportation with us, and that we hope to have a very extensive um, presentation from them concerning Route 31, in particular, the Route 31 area, Thompson Road at 31, near the high school area, and down to and including the intersection of 31 and South Bay. So Thompson, 31, 31, 31, and South Bay Road. So that being said, any further items from the board?
Two brief ones. One, some of you may have seen it, but I'd like to once again thank and congratulate the Cicero Police Department, who in conjunction with the New York State Police raided and broke up, believe it or not, a prostitution operation that was going on right by Cicero Elementary and Cicero North Syracuse High School. It was purportedly a massage parlor, but they were offering other services, and they've been watching it for a while, and they executed a search warrant, made some arrests, seized some cash. And one thing I'd like to add on to that before, I'm sure the chief will have something to say. We've talked about bail reform up here, and I think normally when people think about bail reform, they think in the opposition to it, those of us who are opposed to it, they think about, letting killers, letting criminals back on the streets. But there's an interesting component that occurred here that you normally wouldn't think about in terms of bail reform. A lot of the people involved in these types of operations are victims of human trafficking. I don't know if the two women arrested in this case were, but quite often they are. I think it's probably likely they were. And people who are arrested in connection with prostitution around here, usually it's women, but not always, go to human trafficking court because not always, but very often, the vast majority of the time, prostitution is associated with human trafficking. But because of bail reform, even though these women were charged with a felony, because they were not charged with a bailable offense, they were released, which means that there was no opportunity to offer them any services, to offer them any help, to see, if they were being threatened. There was no opportunity for any of that. So if they're being trafficked and, and there was someone around here, which I would assume there would be, who was watching them and who was running this operation, they could pick them up after they got their appearance tickets and take them out of the area. And that really does a disservice to these people, because the whole point of a human trafficking court is to try to offer services to people so they can get help and they can get out of that situation. So I just wanted to point out that these are real victims of bail reform, not the type we normally think of, just a completely different type that you really would only see in this type of case. Chief, do you have anything to say about the operation?
Actually, I'm not really going to be able to say a lot
No,
because
it's
it's still a pending operation and still ongoing. But I just want to let the board know that quality of life issues I have a passion for. So when these complaints come in, we immediately take action. And we did work great with the New York State Police and their new community program that they work with towns and villages on. Worked very well.
And everything I said is available online. So I did not, though it's not an ongoing operation, I didn't say anything that I couldn't. The other thing, briefly, we were informed today that the justice courts in this state now have to take payment plans for traffic fines, which means that, and there could be thousands of tickets and fines assessed, that the courts are now required to, without any inquiry as to anyone's ability to pay, take a payment plan of $25 per month or 2% of a person's annual income towards fines. And again, that would quickly add up to being thousands and thousands of open files that our courts have to maintain these payment plans on. And we cannot charge a surcharge in order to do so, which means that it's not possible for our justice court staff to administer thousands and thousands of payment plans. So if we're going to do this, we're either going to have to hire an outside company or we're going to have to hire more people to do it. And because we cannot charge a surcharge for this, it's just another unfunded mandate coming from Albany that is going to fall on the local taxpayers. I mean, unless the judges just stop assessing fines, which frankly, some courts probably will do. I'm not a judge, so I'm not going to comment on that. But if they're going to assess fines, they have to take payment plans, and it's going to cost all of us. And that's all I have.
Any further items? Hearing none, next item number 26, public input.
I was gonna talk about, I'm not gonna talk. Remember what we just passed relative. Said the deputy tax person made $15.30 an hour. Tax clerk can get People that have a very big responsibility. Money that they collect from me, credited to my account, that it goes into my bank account. And work at Dunkin' Donuts, gang, and get more pay than what we're paying the clerk. I mean, I'm not a great spender, but at the same time, you know, we're lucky that we get the quality of people we get for the poor pay that we put out there. Think about that as we go into the budget process for next year. I would never go in a courtroom with a problem without a lawyer. I would not suggest that we go into a professional situation with the master plan without having a director. I don't know of any movie that has ever produced doesn't have a director, someone that has the whole picture, done it before. I think right now with Don and Mark on the committee, I think that's great. Like, we need more than 4 people that are from the community. That committee, the whole committee, not the executive committee. Executive committee would probably be the kind of number we've been talking about. But a committee of 12 to 14 people, because you have subs that, you know, you work on land use, you can work on zoning, you can work on traffic, quality of life issues, and how we would change the town to pick those up. In fact, I would ask that we ultimately, after we expand that, the frustrating part that Judy, of course, is if you put out a call and you get 2 people respond, those 2 people. Crazy. I think it behooves every board member knows that someone that's involved in the school system, get them to hopefully volunteer. Had a good cross section. I talk about the will we passion for the highway garage, not because I'm in love with Chris. I'm in love with his operation. Started out with a plan that was 77,000 square feet. Made some changes. We had to longer to get it to bid than we wanted, but that's fine. That cost us some money. Get to the point where we knew that if we said, oh, we'll forget the salt barn. Had we forgotten the salt barn, the state would have mandated that we do the salt barn. It was a separate project. It would have been a lot more than a $400,000. Because we had a grant that gave us $300,000. Still feel that money should go to finishing up some of the parts that we were not able to do today because of the budgeting. But the numbers and how we work through those. There is a report that I know town hall that put together that lists all the contracts and numbers that went to 9.8, 1.4 that we added. Why we did that. None of this was ever secret. It was always here. It was always in front of the board. The board passed those. The board always passed every payment that we ever made. Heard some words of that, oh, you guys were backdooring this, and none of that. We were all very open.
Thank you.
Ontario Ave. Someone who has called along
comprehensive plan for a number of years. Really disappointed in what has happened. You keep talking about what's going to happen regardless of what happens in the town of Clay or Central Square or Salina. Our infrastructure cannot support what we already have here. We are constantly bombarded with people who want to build more. And it's not just traffic. It is taxes. It is supporting the infrastructure and the processes that this town has to do. And I hope to God that if you guys go with solar farms, that you get some taxes unlike our neighbors in Clay. Back to what you've done today. So now you're going to do it in-house. Managed to frustrate Judy to the point where she is not leading this. Hope that you continue, even though you're doing it in-house and you're off for a year or so, to apply for those grants that Judy has spoken about, because at some point we're going to need a professional. And frankly, if there's a professional engineer in this town who was going to do this for free, would they not have volunteered already? But if you know one, definitely let's bring them in. The other thing is that I think we learned the not to exceed lesson on the town garage, so I'm with you on that one. I would like to see, again, that you go for the grants, that you start having some public hearings on this while you're doing it in-house, and that it's not, you know, a bunch of town employees sitting around talking about it. And had I known that just citizens were being asked to join the committee, I would certainly volunteer my time and join it. I would like to see Ms. Boyke back. Thank you.
Okay, are there any other members who'd like to? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Again, the next meeting is July 14th.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Adjourned. Thank you very much.